Welcome to the Rapid Fusion podcast.
The industry was sort of struggling to find out who it was, right, in general. All 3D printing, not just LFAM, and it was the teenager in the mirror, like, who am I kind of thing, right? And so then you have to apply it in a meaningful way relative to real manufacturing. The people who are winning in this are the people who are applying it to, like, real-world solutions.
We cheat gravity in a lot of ways, and even if you've designed for additive in the past, this is going to still blow your mind. You're still going to have to learn a fair amount.
No longer is it just a tooling solution. Now we're talking about, making actual, end-use parts, drone boats, large architectural scaled models, signage. 20-some years ago, there were a lot of doubters. There are still a lot of doubters, actually, but there were a lot of doubters.
Hi, and welcome to the latest episode of the Rapid Fusion podcast. And today, from all the way over the pond, we have Dave from PADT. I'll do a clap. I'm actually on my own here, so it's not that we're underwhelmed. We just want to me. So Dave, thank you very much for joining us. I think we've wanted to do this for quite a long time now, so it's great to finally get the time in the calendar. I know we've bumped it about a little bit, but we're here today. No technical difficulties before we started. And so I think for anyone listening to this, obviously they would have heard of PADT through various communications we put out, but from the horse's mouth, just explain for anyone who doesn't know PADT, explain a little bit about PADT and who you are and what you guys do.
Sure, thanks. Well, first of all, thanks, Jake, for letting me, attend this podcast. I really appreciate that. So we are PADT. We are in Tempe, Arizona, so in the southwest part of the U.S., and we've been in business for over 30 years now. Where we do a number of different things. Actually, we run 3D printers. We're big into the 3D printing space. We have a complete service bureau that runs parts for 3D printers. We sell 3D printers as well as ANSYS software, and so we have ANSYS software as like a whole software suite that we work through, and we have people that support that product line, and then we have, again, sales channels representing ANSYS, and then we also have product development. And so actually the lab that I'm sitting in now is our product development lab, where a lot of new products are developed through a lot of the resources and engineers here at PADT. We're an engineering-based company. We have many engineers on site to work on various different projects. And so we've been around over 30 years, and we're super excited to be able to represent Rapid Fusion. And it's been a great relationship so far.
Yeah, we've definitely, I've been out there to see you guys, and it's a fascinating place. And the story of the business it's definitely steeped in engineering background, right? It's a legit engineering company solving real world problems for customers. And that's obviously been a big part, I would imagine, of your 30 years success story. Really, it's hard to be around that long, especially in the industry that we're in. But I think it shows that you guys are definitely, at the forefront of what's working and what technologies are capable of producing for people. So, if anyone hasn't checked you guys out, I'd suggest if they're based in the States and they're looking for a partner to talk to around software, hardware, or engineering applications, solutions, or large format additive, obviously being very much the top of the list, they should get in touch. So talk to me a little bit about your background, because you've had a interesting background as well, Dave, right? So you're from quite a rich engineering background yourself.
So my background is largely in aerospace and defense. So I came, one of my first jobs that I came up through when as a young engineer was being able to work at Boeing Research and Technology in the St. Louis area. I've really enjoyed that job, but that was a tremendous job. That's where I learned, actually it was called Rapid Prototyping at the time. It hadn't adopted the name Additive Manufacturing. And so one of my first jobs coming out of school was kind of working in this lab where we just did nothing but advanced manufacturing and understanding this new rapid prototyping technology. So understanding stereolithography, selective laser sintering, and fused deposition modeling. And basically we had an entire lab where basically all of these machines were in one area, and we worked on understanding the nuances of these machines. So what makes them tick, right? What makes them from a process repeatability standpoint, what experiments could we conduct on them, and then those would go into processing specifications that we would write, and then that would go through kind of the Boeing system, and then that would get eventually released to suppliers. And so we would do a lot of the hard core sort of engineering work on a lot of this newer technology. You have to keep in mind, if you go back all the way 20 some years ago, all this technology was so new that there were a lot of doubters. There are still a lot of doubters, actually, but there were a lot of doubters. There were especially a lot of doubters back then.
They're getting less and less as time goes on.
Yeah.
I think people have moved with the times, but it's not a fast transition, as we know, Dave. It takes time for people to be convinced, and this voodoo black magic that we're supposedly talking about, that a box can make this part in no time at all, and they're like, how is that even possible? But yeah, so you would have been like playing with this kit and figuring out what the capability of the kit is, and if it works or not, and what's good, what's bad, what's ugly about it. So you've had a long,
running it through
and that was 27 years ago. Yeah. So
it was a while ago.
Yeah. So you learned a lot, I'd imagine, right?
It's been a lot. Yeah. So running it through its engineering rigor, understanding what the kind of the manufacturability of it, right? So intra-machine repeatability and inter-machine repeatability, the ability to make the same part consistently over and over again, and then ability to make that part across multiple other instances of that machine, right? So being able to have that manufacturability consistency was what we were looking for. And so I'd design all these experiments, we'd run through the paces and that sort of thing. So worked on the polymer side for about 6 years or so, just understanding mostly SLS and FDM at that time, and then moved over to the metallic side, and then sort of rinse and repeated on the metallic side with DED, metals technology. And then eventually I had the opportunity to move over to go to Oak Ridge National Labs and work as a Boeing person there. And so then I kind of had like a group of folks, and we would work on various different projects with Oak Ridge National Labs and understanding more about metal powder bed. And then did that for a few years, and then came all the way out here to the West, and then worked for Honeywell Aerospace as engineering design fellow, designing parts for the particular technology to make sure that we use all the topology optimization tools and understand how to really design for it. So I did that for a number of years, and then eventually wound up here at PADT, and it's been great ever since.
So you have a team, right, that you work with and manage within PADT in terms of for specifically for hardware sales, right? Is that correct?
Right, and then also support.
Yeah.
We have a support team as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I'm working with, like, we've worked together a little while now, and we've had lots of conversations. So I guess one thing that would be great to hear is what sort of struck you about what we do and the technology that we're pioneering and pushing, and what made you feel like this is something that your customers should be looking at.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the things that was really interesting about the LFAM space is while I was at Oak Ridge National Labs, what I mentioned, although I was working on the metallic side of things, I saw sort of it all unfold as LFAM was being basically at an incubator level. Like it was starting there, right? You saw a lot, and it was really neat to be able to be there to witness that in person. And so I saw that being applied to large-scale composite tooling, and I saw sort of the cost benefits and that ROI that we talk about all the time kind of come back and just blow away the minds of some of the people who were doing traditional composite tooling. And so I always sort of had that in the back of my head, and then I came out here, and then as I mentioned, I went through Honeywell and that sort of thing. But then once I saw this opportunity for what you guys were doing from Rapid Fusion standpoint, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. It's being commercialized to a point where we could jump on this technology and really see a lot of benefit for already existing customers that we have in the aerospace sector. And so we see a tremendous amount of just ROI there for them. Like if they're doing tooling, that you could sort of see how you bring in some of these parts, and these parts are from a materials standpoint alone, saving them orders of magnitude. And then from the timing standpoint, comparing a traditional INVAR tooling, you're talking many weeks, months, and where you can take that down using LFAM down to just a few days or weeks with proper finishing, And yeah, so since I had already been exposed to this
Yeah.
in some way, then I already had seen the vision and like where this could potentially go. And so that's what excited us about, going into this particular type of field.
And in general, what do you like? It's good to always get like a bit of a wider scope because we talk so much about LFAM and the benefits. I think on a lot of these podcasts we've done in the past, we talk about where we're seeing customer pickup, and it's predominantly it's large scale tooling and molds, and I think we've really kind of carved out our niche in that area. But in general, you're sort of on the pulse of the industry in general. So what do you think, where do you see the industry adopting more technology? If you were to like carve out over the next, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, what areas do you see people going into, and where do you see technologies transferring over to additive? Is there anything any thoughts on that? I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but just, I know you talk this every day.
No, that's
so
fine.
it'd be interesting to see your thoughts really.
What's interesting about this is that, given my background from the aerospace perspective, I only really saw this as sort of a composite solution because I'd seen that, again, that ROI. However, once we started chatting with different customers and prospects and seeing how it's being applied, no longer is it just a tooling solution. Now we're talking about, making actual, end-use parts, drone boats,
Yeah.
drone systems, to things that I wouldn't even, given my background, I never even conceived of, which would be like large architectural scaled models, signage, things like that, customers have come to us and said, hey, we really need something in that world. Well, that's fantastic. I never sort of thought that it could go into those sort of adjacencies. So I would think it's more of opening the market up. I think it's just market expansion of what 3D printing could start to do. More than just kind of like growing use cases of existing verticals. It's more like market expansion to all sorts of newer areas which is really exciting for 3D printing and the whole additive manufacturing industry as a whole.
Yeah, because you would have seen this happen in other areas, right, where there's like a new technology comes out and then everyone starts adopting it for a certain use case, and then they don't. I mean, there'll still be people who are diehard that still aren't adopting it, but in general, you start to, you walk into a building and they've got that piece of kit that does that specific job. I think how we see it is, as time goes on, making that technology easier to use, faster to deploy, and to be able to get the results that you need. So that ROI curve is trying to shorten that curve. We're trying to make that curve more steep, right, and make it easier for people to get their money back on what they've spent. But I think the adoption rate is increasing. I feel like there's a lot more now. We've been in this market a little while, and we're definitely very busy with inquiries all the time, and there's people seeking us out for information, whereas before we were knocking on the door going, can you look at this might work for you. I think you've seen the influx in people wanting to talk about it. As soon as they kind of see it, they understand it, they want to talk more about it. So I think that's exciting. So I think in terms of your outlook on additive in general, I mean across all broader brands, technologies, where's what are you seeing a lot of at the moment in the market? Where's the demand coming from from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, since I've kind of grown up in this industry and I've ridden the hype cycle curve. My career has ridden the curve and kind of gone back down, right? So I saw everything from when no one knew what it was, to people sort of adopting just 3D printing, and all of a sudden it became a household name, to the rise of the consumer printers, to then sort of the kind of a downward slope, and then sort of like now the plateau. We're on kind of like the plateau of kind of realism. And so I think a lot of that is around specifically the ability to apply this technology, right? So I always talk about how the industry is kind of like it was, especially a couple of years ago, it was sort of struggling to find out who it was, right? In general, all 3D printing, not just LFAM, and it was sort of like the teenager in the mirror, like, who am I kind of thing, right? And so then now it's like, okay, in order to prove your worth in this field, in order to kind of move, you have to apply it in a meaningful way relative to real manufacturing. And I think that's kind of where this technology is now kind of really excelling. So if you look at like the really good success stories of additive manufacturing, it's all centered around true adoption, around true manufacturing, and to where it's not just additive manufacturing isn't the solution itself. it's the toolbox to enable something else that is a product or it is a manufacturing solution. So it's more of a tool in the toolbox to generate a new product faster, or significant lead time savings compared to a traditional technology, or maybe even enable a new product design and development that couldn't have been enabled before because of design restrictions. So I feel like it's kind of reached that stage of maturity now, and now everyone's sort of just the people who are winning in this are the people who are applying it to like real world solutions.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you've nailed that. Like it's changed a lot. You know how people had the technology and they go, you can do stuff with it, and whether it was right for the purpose that it was being used for or not, they would just demo. You know, regardless of the ROI, they just show you that you can make stuff with it. I think with the development in the technology, designing for additive manufacturing as well, DFAM, becoming more people have got experience with that. And then the material libraries that we now have available to us, all the material that's available and all the good work that's going on with material development, we're unlocking, like you say, the adoption of new ways of manufacturing, but also creating new products from it as well off the back of it that wouldn't have existed in that medium before. So yeah, we definitely see that. And I think what's exciting to us is like it's always interesting with LFAM because it's such a everything's so large that gets produced and it's done so fast. I think it's it accentuates the fact that you can produce these parts so quickly and so easily with one click of a button. There's something in the morning that's weighs half a ton and is pretty big, a few 10 feet by whatever feet, and that always blows people's mind. And I think then with the adoption of adding, like you say, another process, which is where I think where additive works really well, is where we add another process on top, or we layer processes to get to the final result. It might not be fit for the end part, but it might be able to increase the productivity or the speed of, sort of prototyping or whatever, if when added and layered up with other processes and other materials. So, yeah, subtractive then just kind of, milling is something we've used for so long. It's what additive sort of competed with for so long, that and I guess injection molding, to sort of complement each other is really nice. So yeah, it's interesting. And you guys have given us lots of problems to solve with the inquiries that are coming in from your end to have a look at as well. So I know we've got some really exciting stuff that hopefully in the coming future we can talk about on here and hopefully put case studies out around. But how's it been for you guys working with Rapid Fusion so far, and kind of what's been your thoughts?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Rapid Fusion, is a traditional, really strong company for us to work with from a partnership perspective. I mean, everything's been fantastic, fantastic communication, fantastic, sort of just like keeping us abreast of the latest technologies, all the latest pricing and sort of everything that's coming out of the UK. We love it. Yeah. We love to be part of that, and it's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, going to trade shows with you guys and chatting with the customers, and it's been great. We've got another one coming up.
We should tell everyone about this because this is coming up.
We should probably talk about
get that out there. If you want to talk to us about anything, you can find us at a show. Yeah, so IMTS,
so we'll be
right? You'll probably explain
IMTS,
it better than me because I know it's a big one for the States, but it's my first time going. So, we'll be there.
It's huge. It is sort of the premier manufacturing, kind of event of the U.S. in terms of everything, right? They have everything from automation to machining, tooling, assembly. There's a whole additive section, which is by comparison quite small compared to all of the rest of the things that they have there. I mean, it's enormous. It's an enormous show, and it's well regarded, and so we're super happy to be able to support the Rapid Fusion booth. PADT folks will be there. Rapid Fusion people will be there. It'll be a great time. We can chat about a lot of the technical details around this technology. And yeah, we're super looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
Yeah, you guys, I think it's in September. We'll have to put the dates in the comments. I can't remember I'm not great with dates, so bear with me, but it's definitely in September. I think.
Into
It is
September.
September. September 2026. And it's every other year, right, that they have the show. So I think, Mark was saying there's like, I don't know, hundreds. It's apparently the largest manufacturing show in the Southern Hemisphere is what they claim on the website. So I'm excited and nervous about how tired I'm going to be at the end of it all, but it should be a good show. And we were at Rapid TCT.
It's a marathon, yeah.
We were at Rapid TCT,
we were
weren't we,
Rapid.
as well, just not so long ago. It feels like ages ago now, but it wasn't actually that long ago.
Yeah.
Which was, again, another great event for us to go. And I think we saw at that event the appetite for the products and the excitement around the technology, and that they wanted, we've had a lot of people that are continually talking to us and working with us since that show. So, and you guys know your stuff. I think one of the things that people should probably understand is a little bit about how you guys are able to work with any potential customer that might be looking at this technology. Perhaps if you can run us through like the team you have there and how you help, and,
Sure.
What you guys offer.
Yeah, we have marketing support through PADT, obviously, to help market a lot of the different products. So we have Sean Williams, who we were able to pry away from Tesla, who's an ex-robotics engineer from Tesla. So we were able to bring him on board, and he kind of immediately flocked to this technology. He's our lead business development rep for this technology for PADT. So if you happen to see Sean at any of the shows, please grab him. He'll be more than happy to chat about Rapid Fusion. And so we have Sean, he's exclusively dedicated to Rapid Fusion, and then we also have some other sales support too. We have Steve Riebensdorf, who's an industry veteran in hardware sales, and then we have an application engineer coming on board. Actually, today is her first day. So Ada English, she is now on board today. Saw her in the hall earlier, but I had to jump on this. So I'll chat with her later today.
So we'll look out for her. We'll have to get her on at some point, and she can talk a bit about things and her learnings when she's got her teeth into it properly. But sorry I interrupted. So you've got a full host there, really. You've got a full host. And yourself, obviously, Dave. If anyone wants to speak to Dave directly and they know him, contact him. But I think what struck me about you guys is the partnership works really well because you actually get it. You get the technology, you're real world, you're looking at engineering solutions properly. You're not, there's no fluff. It's, will it work? Is there an ROI? Is it going to benefit the customer or not? And that's kind of really how we like to work with people. I think you guys are a great credit to us in the States, and I know we're looking at having some options for demonstrations and stuff over there, and hopefully a facility in the near future, and that'd be fantastic as well. I know you guys are really hot on actually getting your hands on the technology and using it every day, and learning, and helping customers understand those learnings. So very excited for the future with working through some of those. I think at the moment we're working really well because we're sort of helping out as much as we can over here, and we've got the great support of our software providers, in the likes of AI Build and Adaxis, who are great partners of ours, and I know they help a lot as well. So you're not getting just someone who doesn't know what they're talking about on the end of the phone. If you contact you guys, there's a wealth of knowledge and support, and to help you make that understanding if it's going to work or not for you.
Yeah, the software is significant. I'm glad you touched on that. The software is incredibly helpful to help customers understand and see sort of the impact of their specific kind of virtual environment of what they're working with and what they're sort of considering in terms of a custom build. When you bring it into that software, they can sort of see the process workflow and see sort of how easy it is, whether it be Adaxis or the AI Build. And it's I think a lot of times it's kind of eye-opening for them because maybe they're used to using other types of traditional sort of 3D print software, and they don't really sort of see kind of how it scales. But using this software, then all of a sudden their minds are kind of open, and they're like, oh, I get it now. I sort of see. I don't need support material anymore. Now we can print off axis, we can slice off axis, we can do all sorts of things where maybe if they had any experience in the 3D printing industry before, their mind kind of opens up, and you're like, okay, now you could think about printing multiple different segments and then repositioning them and then building on them, and all of a sudden it kind of opens up a whole new design space. Yeah. And so having that software to be able to, and the strong support from each of those companies that you mentioned to be able to jump on a phone and sort of go through a Teams call and kind of show the workflow is really impactful.
Yeah, I think it's impossible to know. Like, we still have a lot of calls with people, with yourselves directly or indirectly, and we're always trying to get on as many I do as many late calls as I can do a week without getting in trouble at home. But yeah, we kind of, it is very difficult. You've got a sort of mixed bag of people's understanding, where they presume it runs like their printer that they've got currently, and that there's limitations with that, gravity being the biggest one. And we cheat gravity in a lot of ways. And I think that design opening up, even if you've designed for additive in the past, this is going to still blow your mind. You're still going to have to learn a fair amount. But I think what the software allows you to do, and what they've been fantastic at creating, is workflows and I guess we used to call them like wizards in the past, right? But like wizards that allow you to create, just for simplicity of understanding, to create these very clever toolpaths that make you be able to achieve things you wouldn't be able to achieve with a traditional printing, printer. So, yeah, I think that's the key, and I think we do a great job for customers now, where we really want to understand what they're trying to do, but they get something out of that conversation, right? Even if it's not right for them, there's a learning that we take or they take from it. So, fantastic team at PADT. You have your say it for me, Nerdtoberfest?
Nerdtoberfest.
Yeah, that would be another event that you guys will have if someone's thinking about, coming along to that. That's fantastic as well. I enjoyed a beer or two at that event, I can't lie, last year. It was very informative, but good fun as well, right?
Yeah, it's a tremendous opportunity. So what we do is at PADT is every year we had Nerdtoberfest. It's going to be at the end of October this year, and so we always do it here. We bring in the whole community. It's kind of a community engagement effort more than anything. Everyone in kind of the Phoenix area has heard of Nerdtoberfest if they've worked with PADT or they've attended. Family, friends, everyone. We had close to 800 people last year. The one that you attended with us.
Yeah,
800
it was packed.
Folks.
Yeah,
it's a fantastic time, catered. It's after hours, so you don't have to worry about taking off work. And yeah, it's a fantastic event. So highly encourage you. We're shooting for 1,000 this year. We're shooting for 1,000 people. So
and we'll have plenty of samples out and stuff there this time. I think we were a little bit late getting stuff out to you, and I think the timings were quite tight, weren't we? We just launched. We were just trying to get everything over. Brochures arrived 2 days late, which is always the standard. But everybody asked me so many questions, and they were blown away. Even with what we had to show, they were still blown away. I mean, I'm still talking to a couple of people now that I met there. So yeah, for me, it was a great event, and it just shows the sort of the family community vibe that you guys give off, and and what you sort of embody as a company. So right, talk to me about what you got that you think maybe exciting that's coming to the forefront, in not just in our technology but any technology at the moment. Is there anything you've seen of late that you think is quite interesting, that you've geeked out over a little bit? I'm putting you on the spot, Dave, but come on, you're quite well read, so you might have something.
I mean, I don't know. It's, I follow the space quite closely. I've seen, again, sort of all the trends historically sort of come up and come back down and do all sorts of things. I think it's really interesting in terms of the additive manufacturing space just in general. Yeah. The whole concept of sort of this democratization of AM. I just saw, for example, the new Slate truck that's getting ready to be released. It's that's cool. That is. It's completely, it's like a DIY truck, right? And so I believe they're going to provide CAD files so that anybody in the 3D printing industry could start printing their own stuff to go in their own truck. Like that's awesome, right? That excites me. The fact that we're kind of democratizing this technology beyond just sort of like what people have kind of maybe at home to print, but beyond that, just like to where actual OEMs are like opening up their IP of parts to be able to and freely share so that people could start DIYing their own things. That to me, that's incredibly exciting. I think that's and you've seen like little pieces of this too, right? Where like it started with sort of like Thingiverse and some of these other things where you could just download things for free and that sort of thing. But now where like major manufacturers are now starting to like open up their product design and development is really interesting. I had the pleasure just a couple weeks ago of moderating a panel on drone manufacturing. Oh, really? For the UAS strategies and I moderated that panel, and it was absolutely fantastic. If you could go, you could probably find it. There's probably clips of it out there right now. But one of the things that I found was really interesting is the rapid product design and development that's happening, and additive is just part of that story. So, being able to develop drones for bespoke missions, and then being able to then react in product design like in real time. So like one adversary develops a drone that can do like some sort of penetrating a wall or whatever. It's got its own mission of just doing that. It's not doing surveillance. It's not doing anything else. So you do rapid product design for that, and then the opposing military system will develop a counter to that of product design specifically for that specific zone, and then another one will they'll like counter that with a new product design. So I think what we're seeing is like a crazy new world of like incredibly quick product development, like on the fly, that you wouldn't traditionally see. And I think additive plays a role in that. And so to me, that's quite exciting too, is because I believe, a lot of the Rapid Fusion's products help enable of that, right? So you have, the Medusa, the Cerberus system, of course, being forward deployed. And I think that just kind of just plays this role of kind of this rapid, really super quick product development and integration, where you don't go through the traditional design cycles in the aviation world that you would traditionally go through. You're just trying to develop as many things as quickly as possible on the fly. And so you have kind of like an open source, like almost army of people doing product design and development, like behind the scenes. It's crazy. It's like another whole world that I haven't seen. So that's super exciting to me. Yeah,
I think that is a really good one to talk about, because the way that technology is evolving off the back of adding AI, and I know AI is a topic every day now, but I think people can make products faster, and I think they can design quicker. I think the data they get back, they can analyze faster and make decisions. So you need something to keep up with how fast you can design for, whereas before you'd go back and it'd be a lot more rudimental in trying to work something out. You can have something remodeled really quickly, or an idea that you go from ideation to creation now a lot faster. So it's matching the advancements of AI really with something in the physical realm, which is manufacturing. So yeah, I mean it's definitely, well, like you say, you've seen your peaks and troughs. I think we're in a technology peak at the moment. I think we're climbing quite quickly, and we don't quite know where it will go. But yeah, it's fascinating, and that space is gonna be ever changing. And I think even if you take it outside of that, I think product development across the board is going to be a lot faster now. We haven't seen that new influx of technology yet that's fully taking advantage of AI, and I think we're going to start to see that in the coming years. So yeah, fantastic. Okay, so in terms of PADT, I'm gonna put you on the spot, the website, and then how they get hold of you, the best way, and who to get hold of.
PADTinc.com.
Nice.
And don't quote me on that one, but I don't go to it often. It's our own internal website, but PADTinc.com is where we can, anyone can kind of go in and source and see the different products that we have. But yeah, so there's obviously that way that just reach out to us. You can simply do it the old school manner by calling us if you really want to.
Yeah.
That we have a tremendous people ready to take your call and chat with you. So yeah, it's been great. We really enjoy a lot of this technology and kind of working with new customers on a daily basis.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Dave. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And I look forward to doing this again in maybe a few months' time to see how things have moved on and what the latest technology is and whether we were right about any of it. So thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, Jake.